17th of December 2013 marks the date of the biggest corruption investigation of the Republic of Turkey, involving bribery, money laundering and smuggling racket. The investigation involved ministers, the children of ministers, and businessmen with close ties to the government. The amount of the corruption was expressed to be billions of dollars. On the morning of December 17, 2013, news centres started to inform the news that 89 people were taken into custody. The son of the Interior Minister during that period, Muammer Guler's son Baris Guler, the son of the Economy Minister Zafer Caglayan's son Salih Kaan Caglayan, the Minister of Environment and Urbanism, Erdogan Bayraktar's son Abdullah Oğuz Bayraktar, were all detained whilst their homes were being searched. They were held in custody as a consequence of the alleged crimes involving bribery, corruption and deriving improper personal benefits. The December 17 investigation was actually a consolidation of 3 separate inquiries. One of the 3 investigations was corruption claims at Turkey, Turkey's government-backed housing agency. The second investigation involved bribery claims at Fatih municipality, and the third involved bribery claims made by Reza Zarrab to the children of ministers. Turkey started to become increasingly familiar with 2 people during this investigation. The Iranian businessman Reza Zarrab was the main ringleader. It was alleged that Reza Zarrab bribed and gave expensive gifts to ministers and their children. Not long after, based on the allegations and the permission of the police court, images and photographs of the physical follow-up began to be published. The second person was Süleyman Arslan, the general manager of Halkbank, who allegedly kept his bribe money in shoeboxes. The operation was conducted by 2 prosecutors, Celal Kara and Mehmet Yüzgeç. According to the indictment, an organisation founded under the leadership of the businessman Reza Zarrab, alongside the help of 4 ministers in the bureaucracy, through a spoil system, Zarrab smuggled gold and laundered illicit money. Particularly, the images of the search made at the house of Baris Guler, the son of the Minister of Interior Muammer Guler, stayed on the public agenda for several days. The image, displaying rows of stacked money and safe money boxes standing side by side, became a hot topic for numerous days. Once getting over the initial shock, the AKP government and its circle aimed to penalise the judges, prosecutors and police officers who carried out the inquiry. The ruling party blamed and labelled the parallel state as the fictitious organisation they fabricated and accused the Gülen movement.
Reza Zarrab soytarısına darbe yapan büro amiriyim. Başkomiser Mehmet Akif Üner. Suçlama darbe. Mağduru da Reza Zarrab soytarısı.
The AKP government, which was shaken by corruption claims, hit the first blow to the police station. The financial director and 5 police officers, including the managers of organised crime and anti-terror branches, were dismissed from their professions. Istanbul's chief constable, Hüseyin Çapkın, was also suspended from his job. The governor of Aksaray, Selami Altınok, was appointed instead of Çapkın. Altınok took the first plane to Istanbul and started his new role immediately. However, the government's attempts to stop the police from investigating the case could not challenge the judicial process. Those who were taken into custody were immediately referred to the courthouse. Businessmen Reza Zarrab, the children of ministers Baris Guler and Salih Kaan Caglayan, and 26 other people were arrested. Erdogan Bayraktar's son Abdullah Oğuz Bayraktar was released. Following these arrests, the government took on a position of defence. The government described the unannounced investigation carried out on them and certain police supervisors to be against the law, and changed the judicial law enforcement regulation. According to the new regulation, it was obligatory for the police officers to provide information to their assigned police supervisors related to their investigation cases. Nearly every day, new allegations and photographs from the investigation file, physical follow-up information and phone call recordings were published from social media accounts and other media organisations. 3 ministers had to resign on December the 25th. The ministerial cabinet was changed on the same day. Egemen Bush was no longer on the list of the Council of Ministers. The first to resign was Economy Minister Zafer Caglayan, who was allegedly gifted a watch worth $700,000 from Reza Zarrab. The resignation of Interior Minister Muammer Guler followed minutes later. Egemen Bush, who had allegedly received bribery money in chocolate boxes, did not resign but lost his seat on the same day. The 25th December examination process was over before it even begun. The prosecutor who demanded the trial, Muammer Guler, had also observed the Erdogan investigation. Prosecutor Guler had prepared a list of 41 people, including many businessmen, and wanted the police to interrogate these individuals. Bilal Erdogan, the son of the Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, was one of the suspicious suspects who was recalled. However, the December 25th investigation never took place. Towards the end of the day, the prosecutor made a press statement stating that he was prevented from carrying out his job. After the investigation on 17th December, the Istanbul Security Directorate used the changing regulations as a justification so as not to fulfill the investigation order of the prosecutor. Nevertheless, similarly to the December 17 trial, dozens of documents in the investigation file was leaked to the press and social media. After the 17th of December, the role change which first took place in the Istanbul Security Directorate started to happen in many parts of Turkey. Thousands of police officers, allegedly close to the Gulen community, were replaced. Police chiefs in important positions were first assigned to other less passive roles and then suspended from their jobs. The government was also taking precautions for the judiciary of the investigation. Preparations for the removal of some prosecutors and judges started in the Supreme Board of Judges and Prosecutors. Hadi Salih Kaan, who was appointed to the Istanbul Chief Public Prosecutor's Office, made radical changes in the courthouse. After the members of the judiciary were replaced by the government, the names of those arrested in the corruption investigation on December 17 were all discharged. Süleyman Aslan, who kept his bribe money in shoeboxes, was the first to be released. The arrests including businessman Reza Zarrab, former Minister of Interior Muammer Guler's son Baris Guler, and former Economy Minister Zafer Caglayan's son Kaan Caglayan were also released. Lastly, proceedings filed against the Iranian businessman Reza Zarrab and the former minister's children Baris Guler and Salih Kaan Caglayan, including 53 other people for allegations of bribery and influence peddling. A verdict was made not to prosecute. The day before the anniversary of the investigation, on the 16th of December 2014, the case was completely closed. Soon after the corruption scandal was covered up in Turkey, the media platforms which did not comply with the government's constraints and oppressive practices were also targeted.
Bakın bu gazeteciler haline. Bu ülkede basın bu halde. Görün. Daha ne yapacaklar onu da bilmiyoruz ama bir yandan su sıkıyorlar, bir yandan biber gazı. Canlı yayınımızı nereye kadar devam ettireceğiz?
İpek Media Group, one of Turkey's largest media institutions, became a target hotspot by the AKP government. First, the media group's ads were cut off. Then, the connected companies were tried to put under pressure by tax audits. But despite all efforts, the AKP government, which failed to change the group's broadcasting policy, carried out a police raid and seized İpek Media Group. Koza İpek Holding and its 22 affiliated outlets were appointed on October 26, 2015, on the grounds of an investigation initiated by the public prosecutor of Ankara, Musa Yücel.
Bu yayın devam edecek.
Lütfen buyurun.
Kanalın genel yayın müdürü benim.
On October 28, 2015, the police raided İpek Media Group during a live broadcast. The live broadcasts were forcefully stopped. Journalists were assaulted physically and verbally and also taken into police custody. Similar forceful enforcements were carried out amongst numerous media outlets. After the 15th of July 2016 failed coup attempt, the AKP government shut down hundreds of media institutions. More than 200 journalists were arrested and thousands of journalists were also left unemployed. Since 15th of July 2016, Turkey's biggest witch hunt in history took place. 134,194 public sector workers were detained. 95,458 were taken into custody, and 47,685 were arrested. 2,099 dormitories and universities were shut down. 7,317 academicians were left unemployed. 4,317 judges and prosecutors were removed from duty. 149 media organisations were shut down, and over 300 journalists were arrested. Among them, 231 known journalists still remain under arrest. Although the corruption scandal was covered up in Turkey, breaking news which emerged from the USA was the calm before the storm. Sarab was arrested in Miami during his travel to Disney World with his family in March 2016 and then was brought over to New York. Consequently, an investigation process had finally begun in America. Reza Zarrab accepted all charges pressed against him and confessed in court that the December 17 investigation in Turkey involved serious levels of corruption.